under nutrient. Actually, the opposite, we're over nutrient. We have more than our body needs. Right. So the first generation or first group of vitamins are the first supplements are still important, but they're less applicable to our daily lives now. Second generation. As we start to understand vitamins a little more, we realize vitamins do not work as individuals. Right? A lot of times, for example, vitamin B is actually a family of vitamin Bs. It's better to take all of them at the same time because they have interaction between each other. And sometimes when you take vitamins, it's better to give you minerals or some cofactors that work together. So that's developed and it came out with the second generation of supplements. But we actually went to the different extreme. Some companies that says, you know what I do is I'm going to give you everything. So it's very easy. I give you one product contain all the vitamins, all the minerals, right? And this is like a shutdown solution. Whatever you're missing is here. Okay, this is the second group of products that we typically for companies. But those are products still available and they're still beneficial. We actually have one product containing some of that, but when I go to the talk about product, I'll go into details about that. Okay, that's the second generation. The third generation are basically based on experiments. A lot of times we have, some kind of juice, some kind of extract. The Chinese may want to take ginseng, and may add other things. But the problem is, when you ask the Chinese, why do you think ginseng is good for you? I don't know. My parents told me it's good for me. When you go to parents, why do you think ginseng is good for you? I don't know. My grandparents told me it's good for me. When you go to grandparents, why ginseng is good? Well, it's been 1,000 years we've taken ginseng. We don't know why it's good, but it's supposed to be good. Did anyone, because of taking ginseng, and survive 200 years? No. Actually, I don't know anyone become healthy by taking ginseng. Right? Is it beneficial? Since we take for 1,000 years, I better say it's beneficial because everybody thinks, damn, I waste so much money on it. Right? But we don't really know why. There's also one product, even today, much more expensive than gold. In the Chinese name, and I can translate back to English, it's kind of odd. The English name is winter worm summer grass. So this little organism in summertime is like a grass, it doesn't move. But during wintertime, it's like a little worm. When you look at it, it looks like a worm. Okay. In traditional old-time Chinese, we believe this product is magical. Why? Because you either have an animal or you have a cheese. And this particular organism combining the best of the two words. You never see a tree can move around. Right, so they think it's a magical power. And it happens only to be found in Tibet. So today, again, as I said, this is probably 10 times more expensive than gold. One time I had some. I think one of my aunties came to my house and gave me some kinds of gifts. Okay, and it was supposed to be very good for when you have a respiratory disease or when you in general are very weak. You have a cough or something. So my mom called me and said, "Oh, you've been coughing recently. Why don't you do this? You take that and you cook it, make a broth out of it. You drink it, and then it will make you vomiting. And when you're done vomiting, you will be cured." And I said, "Mom, I don't need to cook it. I just look at it. I start vomiting. It's a worm, right? But why this thing can move during certain seasons and can become like almost like a grass during a different season? Very simple. It's a worm infected by fungus. So when it's healthy, it moves around like a worm. When it dies, the fungus grows out of it, become a grass. That's all. When we do a model analysis on it, yes, we find amino acids, we find some of the vitamins, we find the minerals, but really we can find anything that justifies the cost. Still, people are taking that product. Right? So you will still find a lot of those products in the market for that purpose. A lot of companies, when they try to sell those products, they give you a beautiful story. Usually the story goes like this. My grandparents got lost in the jungle. Okay, they find this tree. They almost die when they find this tree, and the tree has this fruit. They take the fruit and they eat, they survive. Now I'm bringing the juice of this fruit to you. One of the mistakes this company from U.S. I know they made, they tried to sell mangosteen to Filipinos. They didn't realize Angostein was from the Philippines. Okay, and we tell them this magical power. And every people say, yeah, I know, I had it for breakfast. Right, so there's a lot of that kind of problems. And sometimes there are Chinese companies and tell the Westerns the story. This is a recipe from the palace. And my great-great-great-grandfather was, working for the king in the palace, serving the queens. Now with the family, the recipe is in my hand now. We got the product out of it. They just don't know the history of China. Anybody working in the palace with the queen were actually neutered, so they will never have any children. And so it's so basically all companies try to sell you are the stories, funny interesting. So that's a third generational type. It's based on some kind of herb, some kind of extract. Sometimes we don't know the active ingredients. Sometimes it's urban legend works. Sometimes it has certain benefits. We simply just don't know enough about it. The problem is when you don't know what's the active ingredient, how do you do quality control? Right? You don't even know what works. Right? Now it comes to the fourth generation. The fourth generation is we realize our body is complicated. There's different components, and when we study different things, we understand what's the active ingredient and how we put them together. When I go into every individual products, you understand why I'm saying that. Now let's just take the face value for that. So the important thing is we use something from the nature, so it's not synthetic. So we know a lot more about it, right? It's not something that's been around for 10, 15 years. A lot of components that's been around for hundreds of years. Like the green tea. The Chinese have been drinking green tea for hundreds of years. So at least we know they're safe. Right? It's not something synthetic yesterday. We don't really know the toxicity. When you look at me, you find evidence of that. If you look at my teeth is very brown. I don't smoke. I used to smoke, and I can tell you when I had this front teeth when I was a teenager. Why? It's actually tetracycline. It's antibiotics. When it first was created, it was treated as a miracle drug because it kills all bacteria. So my generation, when we initially grew up in China, when I was 7 or 8 years old, both my parents are doctors, so I had a lot of tetracycline. Anytime I have an infection, they give me that. Right? And then 10 years later, they realized tetracycline also harms your teeth. It will make your teeth into brownish color. So when I look at Chinese people from China, when they look at the teeth, I know how old they are. The only people around my age I know had a very clean teeth was someone that was born and raised in Tibet. They have no access to more modern medicine, so he survived the suffering. So those are the active ingredient from the nature. They're safe. This is very important to us. Now, because of that, okay, this is the foundation. We know what works, why it works. Now we can do quality control. Okay, but quality control from FKC itself is not good enough. We're the manufacturer, right? We produce it. So what do? We're leveraging FDA, right? In the U.S., there's a set of regulations called the GMP, Good Manufacturing Practice. It's actually a set of regulation laws designed by FDA. But remember, it's not designed for food supplements. It's actually designed for pharmaceuticals. Because pharmaceuticals has to be produced in such a fashion where the quality is absolutely controlled. Because you want your patients to have the same medication every single time. For supplements, no such requirement. But FKC is voluntarily subject all our products for GMP regulation since day one. For a simple reason, for a very selfish reason, I just want to sleep better at night. I don't want to worry about this batch going to be good or that batch going to be bad. Every single batch is controlled. I need to explain GMP a little bit more because a lot of you here in the Philippines heard about GMP regulation, but you don't. The meaning of GMP here in the Philippines is different from GMP in the U.S. When people come to me and say, Kenny, is GMP very easy to be certified? I say, yeah, it's easy. You know why? Because the regulation's there. Just follow the regulation. You do everything by the paper, by the book, you will be certified. However, the most difficult part is maintaining GMP. Because it's not a one-time deal. It's not like you're certified for GMP, you're good for life. Every 6 months, our products has to go through GMP certification. If you go to our website right now, we actually have a scanned copy. Actually, one of our posters also has a scanned copy of our GMP certification. is only good for 6 months. So every 6 months we have to submit our documentation for FDA for regulation. And the FDA also schedule unexpected visit to the facility and making sure. So this is doing a boring thing every single day. I mean, think about this. If you have to do everything, every move, how you wash your test tube, how you clean your room, how you prepare your sample, every single thing you do is controlled by the government. Everything has to be documented. It's a very, very tough job. Right? But for me, that's one of the major things making me sleep better, at night. So I know our products are controlled. So luckily for us, for the last 11 years, FKC's products has been on the market. We never had a single incident of adverse effect because of FKC products quality. We don't have that. If you applaud to that, you actually don't applaud and or wish the other thing will happen. Because if there is a quality-related issue to FKC products, you're guaranteed by $5 million US. That's the insurance we purchase on our products. So that's one of the ways to become a millionaire. Okay. So that's the quality part. This is very important because you cannot just assuming a product from the U.S. is high quality. Because actually 90 to 95% of products, supplements, sold in the U.S. on the shelf are not GMP certified. Why? They're not required to do so. By doing GMP certification, you significantly increase the cost of your production. Because there's just tons of paperwork. Has to be, you have to hire experts, scientists to be able to follow the regulation. As simple as that. Okay, so that's the fact of our products. When we go and look at the products, this is go back to 11 years. Okay, when we design the product, I have two things in my mind. Okay, number one thing is, what is food supplement designed for? You have to understand this, because I already told you earlier, we are no longer in the domain of pure food supplements, because today we can eat everything we need from the food. Especially here in the Philippines, we can have all the nutrients, all the minerals, everything. I mean, we still have people who have unbalanced diet, but that's not the majority. Majority of us have the proper intake already. So what is the number one issue we have? The number one issue we have is every day we're being challenged by the environment we're living in. And again, as I told you earlier, our body is not trained for the lifestyle we have today. Sometimes I tell people, I say, do you know where is the largest McDonald's in the world? Everybody will be saying New York, Los Angeles. I know it's actually in Beijing, China. It has 79 cash registers. Wow. And can serve thousands of people at the same time. And when you go there, there is not a line. It's a flood of people. You come in on one side and you go out on the other side. And then the serving area is like a plaza. You have 79. I mean, think about it. Just imagine 79 cash registers sitting next to each other. It's incredible. When you walk on the streets of Manila, when you walk on the streets of Beijing, when you walk on the street of Shanghai, or you walk on the street of New York City, you will see all those what we call Burger King kids. We call those McDonald's babies. Right? They all look like a tire. Right? They're all overweight. They don't exercise. In the U.S., the numbers are very appalling. I have a personal experience of this because I fly a lot. Sometimes I get bored. So one time I was on Alaska Airlines, flying from Oakland to Orange County. My seat is 1A, so I was the first one at the airplane. I got on very early that day, so I was sitting there. I take out a book, put on my on my leg, and I was reading it. But when people passing by me, I can see them. For some reason, on that day, I started counting. First one comes past by, I say fast. Next one is fast. The people just screaming, and there's about 220 some people passing by me on that day. So overweight, obese, fat. So at the end of it, I did the tally. Roughly about 60 to 65% are overweight. Statistically speaking, that's the overweight population in the U.S. as well. Right? So sometimes I literally see one guy sitting in the lap of another woman. because they're both too big for one seat. I mean, no joking at all. I mean, it was so ridiculous. Eventually, the flight attendant come over and said, "Sir, I'm going to offer you a different seat in the front because both of them are bigger than one seat." Incredible. So the food intake is incredible. Okay. And also today, if you pay any attention to the news, and you will realize the air pollution is incredible. Okay. I remember in 2010 when I came to the Philippines for the very first time. When the plane was ready to land, the pilot was announcing, "Welcome to Manila." I looked over the window, I couldn't find it. You see, everything is just so murky, right? And then the airplane started dying down. I'm like, oh my God, please make sure we have radar off because you really don't know where the airport is. And the guy was just dying down. And after we get really close to the ground, everything started to clear up, and then we landed. Okay. And then once I get out of the airport, I realized I'm actually still in the airport because everything wasn't moving. Right? There's so many cars. You can see the air pollution. You don't need to smell it. You don't feel it. You can see the air pollution. That's the environment we're in right now. Okay. I don't know the statistics here in the Philippines, but in the U.S., in the drinking water, they find 200 different chemicals, ranging from daily detergent all the way to pills, contraceptive, drugs, and so on and so forth. If they can find 200 different components in the U.S. drinking water, how much do you can think they can find here in the Philippines? I would imagine at least 200. Right? When your water is not clean, everything else is not clean. When you grow the crops, you use the water. When you wash, you use the water. You can get rid of bacteria from the drinking water very easily, but you cannot get rid of chemicals from the drinking water that easily. So all of this is causing problem. And the worst of the worst is the Filipino food. Okay, I've been invited to many Filipino families and to have dinner or have parties with them. I never see anything green. You have seafood, you have deep fried seafood, you have salty seafood, you have salty seafood for breakfast. And the one I love most is the pork belly, and you fry it. You want to make sure you have enough fat in it. Right. So all of that. So when I first came here, when I was doing our first batch of FKC members are actually government officials. There was a reason I made them members, because they realized we didn't get approval right away. They asked me to do presentation. At that time, no one had any exposure to FKC products yet. So I didn't really know where to start, because for me to go through the products will take about 3 hours. They don't have 3 hours. So I asked them, I said, what are the 3 major issues facing Filipinos today on a daily basis? Okay, they say, okay, there are 3 issues.